WSAC's College Access Initiatives team, also known as College Access or CAI. And I'm from the amazing CAI team. There are many of us here today helping with logistics, Q&A, presenting, and more. We are also joined by incredible partners from the College Success Foundation. So thanks so much for being here. And again, we are super excited that you are here. Again, I think there are over, 100 folks. So this is going to be a great turnout. Before we get started, I just wanted to go over a quick reminders to help the session run smoothly. This session is being recorded if you're just joining us, and we will email the slides and recording to all registrants and post it on our WSAC's YouTube channel. If you need help with Zoom, please direct message Christina Winstead, thank you, Christina, in the chat, and ask for support. And for questions, if you joined us in previous years, we're going to do something different this year. We're going to be using the Q&A feature. So it helps us to keep things organized. And we will pause for Q&A after most presenters and have general Q&A at the end of this presentation as well. So if you haven't seen it already, the slide deck of our PDF with all resource links and the acronyms document are both in the chat. So thank you, Yasleen and Christina, for popping that in. This webinar is about an hour and 45 minutes. We may or may not need that full time, so just settle in and enjoy. Again, you can use this slide deck to follow along in our presentation. So last but not least, there are clock hours available through ESD 113. Instructions were emailed and are also on the screen. Again, you can click on the slide deck and those are live links for you to follow our presentation today. Now, if you're watching in a group, please drop your full names in the chat and note it's for clock hours so that we can make sure we have that information. And you're going to hear me say this throughout the presentation, but please reach out at any time and ask us questions. We are here to support you, your schools, and students. Okay, so before we begin, let's get a quick sense of who's here. So if you could use the chat feature, please introduce yourself. We want to know where you're coming from. Enter your name, your school or organization, and the number in the chat on the screen that best describes you. If you need a moment or two, feel free to take a look at the numbers 1 to 6. We just wanted to see if you have been around at your school, if you're new there or been there for a few years. We want to get to know you, especially your college-bound knowledge and expertise as well, so we can better assess and support you. I'm going to take a look at the chat as folks are populating that. Take your time. Okay, awesome. Welcome. Wow, we have folks joining us from all over. I see 4s and 6, 3s. Keep on coming with the introductions. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. 1, okay, 2. Awesome. Way to represent. This is so great. So thank you all so much. Continue to use the chat to engage with us. And it looks like we have a good mix of first-time attendees, experienced staff, and folks from outside schools. So we have a really diverse group today, and that's so awesome. So this is going to help us tailor examples and answers as we go when we get to our Q&A section as well. Key takeaways. What are you going to get from today's webinar? Today we will be covering the following: who we are. So you're going to be meeting the WSAC team, this College Access Initiatives team, and the College Bound teams, and our partners as well. Next, we're going to Sean will talk about later on the college-bound auto-enrollment process. Basically what it is and what it isn't, and whether or not you are joining us for the first time in this webinar or you've attended for years, we will still provide a refresher and overview of College Bound, just in general. And for those of you who have been with us for a while, we will have updates for you. So please stay tuned. These are legislative updates related to College Bound and new information and resources as well. Last but not least, we are going to talk about next steps for supporting your college-bound students. So a little bit about WSAC. We are a state agency and we advance educational opportunities and attainment in Washington State through programs, policies, and partnerships. We administer the College Bound program, and under policy, we have the Regional Challenge grants and more. You can see from the screen the list of programs available. We also administer WA 529, a college savings program. So this visual here shows how many sectors collaborate and partner to support Washington students with college access and readiness. Today, we're going to zoom in the lower right-hand corner and highlight the support and resources from both the College Success Foundation and WSAC's College Access Initiatives Division, which includes College Bound, 12th Year Campaign, and Otterbot, our texting platform. So again, I can't see the number of attendees. Oh, now I can. That's awesome. We're at 128. It's just so great to be partnering with each and every one of you and also the wonderful folks from these areas. So a little bit about the CAI team. Here's our team. We are a small but mighty team covering work across the state. And again, if you're joining us, we are super excited to connect with you. So please, at any time throughout this webinar, after, contact us if you have any questions or need our support. All right. To help you put a name to a face, please meet WSAC's College Bound team. We have Isaac Rodriguez. We have Sean Moran and Rochelle Wise. We're here to assist with navigating the WSAC portal, which Sean will talk about in a bit, answer your questions about College Bound, and support school staff and College Bound students and their families as well. You may have already interacted with us or soon will. And just a few examples, Rochelle, she's frontline support. So if you've ever called or emailed us, she's the first one that you will typically hear from. Sean, he works on creating FAFSA and College Bound portal accounts. Isaac manages the College Access Initiative's material order forms, and they all do so much more. You will be hearing from each of us as we present on different topics today. So again, we love to hear from you. Feel free to reach out. So I won't read the entire timeline, but as you can see here, this is the origin and evolution of the College Bound program. Starting with in 2007, the College Bound program was designed to create early awareness of opportunities available after high school for Washington students, to inspire and encourage middle school students and families to prepare for and pursue education after high school. There are legislative updates from 2025, and Rochelle will be covering that information later on. So please stay tuned. Okay, a little bit about the College Bound commitment. Just a quick refresher, especially for those who are new. Just a reminder that College Bound, it's all about the state's commitment to students. And it works closely together with other state financial aid, usually the Washington College Grant, and it's based on the following: tuition at public rates, some fees, and a small amount for books. This is what we call the college bound commitment, right? These three items. It is not guaranteed, and we will talk more about this in the next slide. But the great thing about College Bound is that it can be used at more than 60 colleges, universities in Washington. And this is including 2-year, 4-year, public, private, career technical schools, and more. Just as a reminder, if you have any questions whatsoever, please make sure to put it in the Q&A feature. We will get to them shortly. The next thing I wanted to get to, which is really important, and this is new compared to other years, I want to zoom in on what are the most common questions and points of confusion about College Bound. Sometimes we get emails and phone calls from upset parents, students, or counselors who are confused, or school staff members. So I'm going to clear this up for you as best as I can, but always, again, feel free to reach out. So I kind of have like a versus screen, right? The first one is guaranteed, college bound guaranteed versus college bound eligible. College bound does not automatically guarantee tuition funds. So if you're working with your students, let them know that they have to be eligible when they auto-enroll and when they're ready to graduate and are applying for schools and financial aid, right? So students must meet eligibility requirements each year, including completing a financial aid application. Number two, the second kind of common question is scholarship versus program. College bound scholarship versus college bound program. So college bound is a state financial aid program. It's not a traditional scholarship. So that's why we're moving away from the word scholarship, because it adds to that confusion. The third is pledge versus student requirements. If you were here with us in the past, you would have hunted down students to get them to sign up for their college bound application. That's no longer the case, good news. So students used to pledge after signing up for paper applications. Now that paper application is gone, students don't need to pledge anymore. We just simply refer it to these are our student requirements. Last but not least, sign up versus auto-enroll. So previously, before 2021, public school students had to sign up via paper applications. With the college-bound auto-enrollment, students are automatically enrolled. Those are public school students. Again, Sean will talk a little bit more about this. So no sign-up is required unless they are a private or homeschool student. Again, these are questions that come up most often, and is so important to highlight. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Sean to talk about the auto-enrollment process. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kathy. Hi, everyone. My name is Sean Moran. And so one of the biggest things that comes up a lot is questions around auto-enrollment. So what I want to start out with is that auto-enrollment is oftentimes mostly viewed as a two-step process. It is like bookshelves and how there's those two bookends. And so the first piece is when students initially get auto-enrolled in either 7th, 8th, or newly eligible 9th grade, or the other end is when they actually are looking at receiving college bound. So let's start with in the beginning. So auto enrollment is specifically for public school students and starts as of 2021. So basically at this point, almost every single student should be a student from auto enrollment. In public schools, sector, you will not see students signing up through paper application. And so one of the things that oftentimes comes up is also, how do we know that a student meets FRPL? Well, we actually find out from a variety of sources. So first off, a student may be listed under direct certification. So all of these codes are free and reduced price lunch codes that a school will enter into their CEDARS database, the state system, and then we will receive it from OSPI. So I do want to mention that. Direct certification means that they participate in something like SNAP or TANF, and so they would still be listed as FRPL student. And one of the other things is we get students who have completed a SNEEB form. SNEEB is the Child Nutrition Eligibility and Education Benefit Application. I always have to look that up because it used to be that family income surveys and free and reduced meal applications were separate, and now it's kind of a one application, right? And so for schools that serve 100% free and reduced lunch, that does not mean all of them have free and reduced codes. So they actually still have to fill out a SNEED form or meet direct certification standards. And the reason is because College Bound is a sign up for students who qualify as income eligible. Just because they're getting the service of a free or reduced lunch doesn't mean they're income eligible. The other group of students that we receive are foster youth students. At any point, if a student has been in the foster youth program from 7th to 12th grade, then we would actually have them from DCYF, Department of Children, Youth, and Families. And then they automatically get enrolled that way as well. And as for private and homeschool students in Washington, they must reach out to college bound staff, and we will work with them, develop the application. Then we send out just a quick little form for them to fill out saying, yes, we meet the income guidelines. And then we get that back, and then we can complete their application. That is part of why we have to work one-on-one, since we do not get the information for non-public school students from OSPI. Now, step 2, receiving college bound. So this is where a lot of confusion may happen. So when a student is in college bound, unless they decide, I don't want to be part of college bound anymore, we're not going to remove them. So they do not have to be free and reduced lunch eligible 9th, 10th, 11th grade. And, they do not have to keep re-enrolling every year. But receiving college bound is a different process. And basically, that's why we encourage, because students have to do this, completing the financial aid application, either the FAFSA or the WASFA, whichever they qualify for, in their senior year, because then they can see, are they meeting income and residency requirements? That's going to be determined by the financial aid office of the institution, because they're able to see the full financial aid application and also can determine residency in their offices. As mentioned, income eligibility must be at or below 65% MFI for college-bound funding. This may differ from USDA guidelines, and some people ask that. So just note that the receiving of college-bound and the qualifying for college-bound in the first place, the income may vary slightly because one is determined by USDA guidelines, the other is by MFI. Um, and we're going to go into this a little bit more as a process. Kathy, can you go into the next slide? Okay, so receiving college bound. There's a few things to note, which is some of the laws and legislation have expanded because students are now able to get it without having to meet all of these different pieces, such as the 2.0 GPA. That is no longer the case. Now, students who do not receive a 2.0 GPA, but they do graduate from a Washington school, can receive college bound at a non-4-year institution, or they can transfer from a non-2-year institution to a 4-year if they qualify. So if you're a student who did not get a 2.0, you decide to go to Tacoma Community College first, and then you decide to switch to WSU, you can do that. You just have to go to Tacoma first, and then you must still also meet the income requirements, and that's something that will be determined every year through your financial aid application. And so, one of the things is also you can earn a GED in Washington. So we get certain information from Cedars, such as if they have an exit code saying they graduated with a GED. If not, if we do not get that information, we recommend to counselors supporting students, have the students reach out to us so we can get the documentation needed so we know that they are a GED graduate and they meet the requirements. So they got it by their 21st birthday. And that's kind of similar to how a lot of the open door programs are as well with the 21st birthday piece. And then they also do not need to meet 2.0 GPA requirement. So what that means is that if they didn't get a 2.0 GPA in high school, but they passed the GED, then they have met what that 2.0 requirement would be. The other thing is they have to enroll in college out of state or out of country within 1 year of high school graduation to meet the enrollment deadline. That means in-state college programs, even for a semester, can count. Out of state or out of country can also count. And then students must attend one of the over 60 eligible Washington institutions, as Kathy mentioned. That includes things like private, public, 2-year, 4-year programs. And then that piece I mentioned earlier about the financial aid application, it has to be done every single year that they want college-bound funding. And so one of the things that oftentimes comes up too is what if you aren't income eligible 1 year? Well, you may be income eligible another year, and then you would be able to get college bound funding and then have no felony convictions. Okay, Kathy, can you move to the next one? Okay, so this is the process on the auto enrollment piece expanded. We're going to go into these one by one. Can you go to the next slide, Kathy? Okay, school data collection, where it all starts. We need students to have their SNEED forms filled out or direct certification as mentioned. So this is the part where schools work on it. They enter it into the school information system. This is done throughout the year. There can either be 7th, 8th, or newly eligible 9th grade. And one piece I want to mention with newly eligible 9th grade is what is this? Newly eligible in 9th grade means that a student was in a Washington school in either 7th and or 8th grade, but then in 9th grade, that's the first time they were listed in those 3 years for FRPL. That might be either direct certification or through a SNEED form. And then if you want to go to the next one, there's the data reporting. So this is where the information goes into Cedars. So from the school information system on a monthly basis, typically, information is sent into Cedars in a file format. Cedars is where you find assessment data, demographics, all of this information on what programs they're participating in, and they will get a code. These FRPL codes are what we base it off of. We do not get which code they are. We just know these are FRPL students. That's what we get from OSPI. The reporting usually starts in September or October. That's usually when enrollment records are hitting into Cedars. It depends on each district. And then usually they happen throughout the year. And so that is why we typically do not get auto-enrollment files sent out until November. November is kind of the exciting month for a lot of people because that's when you're going to see more comprehensive data. You're going to see enrollment records for students. A lot of students may not be showing up yet in your lists if you have a 9th grade list that is missing most students, or you are in a district where they exit all students at the end of the year and then re-enroll them in the beginning of the year, oftentimes there'll be a lot of students missing from your toolbox lists. But October and especially November is when you're going to see it really blossom, if you will, because that's where CEDAR's information is coming into play and coming to OSPI. Okay, Kathy, do you want to go to the next one? Okay, this is the data sharing piece. This is how we get OSPI information. So we get newly FRPL eligible students on a monthly basis from OSPI. It starts in November, and then we get throughout the school year. And in that time period, we also get data updates on a weekly basis. So once we get an FRPL student, then soon afterwards, we're going to get information saying, okay, now here's info on whether they exited from that school and now they're going to another school. It may also have information on GPA updates. It may also have information on, of course, when they graduate. That's what we're hoping for because it's easier to make sure that we're keeping up with graduation information. And then one of the things with auto enrollment, it may be 1 or 2 months delayed, especially because you may have a student who filled out that application at the end of the month. Then at the beginning of the month, they went into the system, your student info system, and then CEDARS, they missed that. So now they're in the next CEDARS file. So it may be a slight delay. We just want to recognize that. Okay, now school district data updating. Okay, this is where we really need the help from individuals, portal users. So we do not get in contact information. CEDARS does not have contact information. So we depend on portal users to begin updating student and parent contact information in the College Bound Toolbox and respectively in the student information system. And the student information system is because they do not communicate, right? So think of these as they are not associated with one another. We recommend monthly starting in November, but we recognize that may not work for everyone. Um, but one of the things is we have what are called bad addresses, which means that either we got returned mail, so that address did not work for us, or it means that the information is just missing. So let's say, especially for our newly entered students, we may not have that. It is crucial for us to get that because that is how we send out the notification trifolds, which will tell them you are part of College Bound program, expect all of these services, resources, and additional information. So that's how we continue communicating with them, not just with the initial trifold. We also will do email newsletters with tons of resources. We have OtterBot, which will be talked about later, which is a chat platform for parents and students. So quite a bit of information there. And then we also have some postcards we send so that they can be reminded about some of the requirements for College Bound and also know as long as you do your application, your financial aid application, there are not additional applications for the scholarship for most students to consider. Okay. And then uh, one of the other pieces is we want to recommend that just because a student does not have a bad address doesn't mean you can update additional information. So for our students who have good addresses, they may be missing numbers or emails. So we want to make sure that we get that updated as well. So they're getting these additional forms of communications. And then next slide. Thanks. So this is what I mentioned before. Once we have an address in place, we can send the first trifold. This will notify them typically of what College Bound is, as well as give them helpful tools to connect and find additional resources if needed. It is monthly, so usually we have to bunch it all together. Usually it'll happen at the beginning of the month. It's kind of a one-time welcome message mailing. Okay, next slide. So oftentimes people also ask, can I share this information with College Bound? Well, actually, you can. It is protected under FERPA. This is directly from our portal FAQs, and it is based on the US Department of Education Parent Guide to the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. One of the things is we only are requesting directory information, and we only request this directory information for college-bound students, and it is for program administration purposes. One of the things is we do not count as a nonprofit. We are a state agency. So oftentimes people will say, well, they have do not share my information with nonprofits. We are not a nonprofit. So we do not fall under that category. The other thing is we also want to make it clear that we respect students with confidential notices. Student information systems should have it marked when a student is listed under confidential. What that means is you would not share their information with anyone. Oftentimes, you shouldn't even have it in many places. These are students who have extenuating circumstances, such as witness orders or additional privacy orders to protect them. And so we do not want any of that information shared with us. We recognize that their safety is of the most importance. The other piece is that we do not share information out when we are contacted by a guardian. So, what that looks like is whenever a guardian reaches out to us, we will always ask them, to tell us what address or what number or what email. We will not give them out contact information because this is for security purposes, just in case a guardian or an additional parent may no longer have that access. We do not want to provide it out. So it's only what people give to us in that case. Okay. You want to go to the next slide, Kathy? Okay, so this is just a final recap. So current CB students, we ask that you continue updating their information. We do get this information from OSPI on the school enrollment, GPA more. Some information is a little delayed as enrollment records are still being entered by districts into Cedars. And then November is when we see just a blossoming of the college-bound toolbox. You'll see a lot more seventh graders, eighth graders. Many will start seeing their ninth graders. And then we receive those monthly updates from OSPI. Okay, Kathy, can you go on? Okay, so using the portal. So the first thing is email collegebound@wasac.wa.gov to get a college-bound portal account. That is the first step. And then when we give you that email invitation, you will also receive resources such as our toolbox video, which is helpful because it shares what are all the features of the portal. So you can examine that more. We also have the basics flyer, which talks about how to use the toolbox to view and manage your college-bound student list data. Um, and then if you wouldn't mind going to the next one, Kathy. This just kind of covers the piece about what the portal looks like, and we'll talk a little bit about the portal FAQs, and that's going to help you also when you're updating student information, student and parent contact information. One thing to note is, as mentioned, the portal is not for uploading new students. You cannot upload a new student. You can only update their information if you are a school staff member. Nonprofits do not have access to student contact information per their NDAs and DSAs, their data sharing agreements, non-disclosure agreements. But also, you will have access as a school staff to see their event history, which means you can see things like if the certificate was sent to them. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Okay. So this piece I just want to cover because there have been some changes in the portal. And some of these already happened, some will be happening. So, as mentioned in the January newsletter, SSIDs are no longer visible as of spring 2025 due to data privacy updates. This means we cannot provide SSIDs at this time, and what we have been doing is encouraging different districts and schools to think about different ways of doing bulk updates, especially. So, for those who may not be aware, bulk updates is a way for multiple students to be added all at once. So, if you want to add all of your student and guardian contact information, two of the ways you can do that are you can either update all students at your school into College Bound portal under the bulk update in the bulk update template, and only those students who match with the college bound SSID name and their birth date will get imported. Everyone else is encrypted and acts as a blob data. So that means imagine it just being this pool that is just securely held in storage and doesn't even hit the toolbox at all. So it never even reaches that. The other way is you can also create a unique identifier. So some schools have been combining the birth date and the name. And if it matches in their student information system, then that allows them to basically create this unique way to connect the information from the student info system to the portal. One of the things is I know this is a lot more manual work, so we recommend reaching out to College Bound and we can actually walk you through that process on how to do it if it is of interest. Now, everyone has to do a bulk update. You may find editing just a few students at a time might be the way you want to go about it, depending on the size of your list. And one of the other pieces to that is we are looking at uh, this upcoming, probably October and November, having an expansion of the bulk update template. And what this is going to be is we are going to add the phone number field. And what that does is that's for the additional guardian. FYI, that will allow us to just have another way to reach out to additional parents, just in case there are two parents or two guardians who are both supporting the student in their college bound journey. We want to recognize that and make sure we're getting supports to them as well through things like OtterBot. And then the other thing, and the most major thing possibly for many, is going to be we will be creating a college access initiatives master data sharing agreement. And what this will be is it'll be for college bound as well as FAFSA portal, any other college access initiatives, portal sort of products. And part of the reason for this is because the process has changed. We no longer get the information from the schools and districts, we are getting it from OSPI. And so we have to follow data sharing regulations and making sure that we also are checking to make sure who is accessing from the school side into college bound data and making sure this will have the college bound permissions, FAFSA permissions, if it applies to you, if you're serving students directly with their FAFSA applications, that sort of thing. So that'll be coming up in the next month or two, actually. And we will be supporting schools and districts with this change. Okay, next slide. Okay. As mentioned before, We have the Toolbox Basics flyer right there, and we also have the video tutorial. We are going to be updating the video tutorial with some updates related to the SSID and some of the changes this month. So that'll be exciting. Okay. And then last. Okay, College Bound Portal User FAQs. Please check this out because one of the things is a lot of frequently asked questions came from the questions we've gotten in the College Bound inbox. And oftentimes, if you're unaware of something, just know you're probably not the only one who's asking these questions, and it helps others in some of the work they're doing so that the College Bound portal can be more user-friendly and support you in your work. Okay, last slide. Thank you all for being part of this journey. I know that was a lot of data info.
Thank you so much, Sean. That was great information you provided. Yes, it was a lot to cover, but this is important. Again, stay tuned for more information. And at this time, if you have any questions for the topic shared during Sean's section, please submit them in the Q&A feature if you haven't already. And I'm just going to take a moment to see if there are any questions specifically for Sean. And I know that there is one, Sean, that you had mentioned, and I'm so sorry, I don't know how to get my video to work at this time. That should be fine. But basically, I have a question. You've covered it, but maybe it's a good one to read aloud.
Mhm.
John, there's a question from Renee. He says, I think state ID numbers used to be included when we downloaded our student lists, but that's no longer the case. How can we get those included again?
Um, at this time, there are no ways to get it included again. Part of the reason for this is because state student IDs are considered now by law a confidential data element. And for things like confidential data elements, you need data sharing agreements or non-disclosure agreements in place. And since right now there are no NDAs or DSAs that school staff have to sign currently, then we cannot do that. I hope that helps, but that's just currently, of course.
Thanks, Sean. Let's see. Why do we get them? Okay, so Renee has a follow-up question. Why do we get them when we pull our FAFSA info? Good question.
Well, part of it is because on the FAFSA side, you do fill out an NDA or DSA. So the school district will fill out a data sharing agreement, and then every FAFSA portal user has to fill out a non-disclosure agreement. And what that's saying is a non-disclosure agreement and a DSA, these are two things that say, here is everything that you are allowed doing with this data, and here is what you cannot do with this data. It's basically like you're setting up a contract. It's an information contract between an organization and you as a person or as an employee, right? Um, and I hope that helps. Yeah.
Okay, and this is another question from Jennifer. This is a good question. Is there a possibility of eliminating the need for a code almost every time I have to log in to the College Bound portal? It is time consuming.
Oh, I will say this. So I'm guessing you're talking about the authentication code, the multi-factor authentication. I can help more with that, Jennifer, and just walk through the steps. But when you're doing the code, there's this one piece, and it's called remember this browser. So when you're entering the code you receive through the multi-factor authentication, you'll see right below it, it's a small little checkbox that says remember this browser. If you click that remember this browser, it will say basically 48 hours, or I think it might be 72 hours. I would have to double check that. Um, yeah, you have to still do it after a week. If you haven't logged in within 48 to 72 hours, you'd have to do a code the next time. And part of the reason for that is just because multi-factor authentication is part of state security. I know, but I appreciate you checking into that. Yeah, but in case others don't know, you shouldn't have to do it many times within the same day. So just remember to click on the Remember This browser. And I hope that helps too, Jennifer.
I hear you. We have to go through it too, Jennifer. So that was a good,
Yeah, we do actually. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, Sean. Okay, we have time for one more question, but keep on, entering your questions, whether it's related to Sean's, section or not. We are still going to take a look at it. Sean, I don't know if you have this information. If you don't, any questions we don't get to today, we will make sure to follow up with the Q&A document as well as our supporting documents sent out to all registrants, okay? So
Yeah.
John, let me know if you have this, but Taylor asks, will this process and or information be linked or accessible on the new statewide high school Beyond Plan platform?
As far as I know, no, I have not heard of anything in terms of data transfer between the two platforms. Um, that would probably require additional sort of data sharing agreements or data collaborations with IT, but I could definitely look into that more, just seeing if they have had these conversations or not. But as far as I know, I have not heard of anything about that.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
Taylor.
Sean. And thank you, Taylor, for asking that question. I'm gonna go ahead and close this. We are going to invite our next presenter to share how WSAC's outreach, how we outreach to college-bound students. And I'm gonna welcome Isaac. Thank you. Go ahead, Isaac.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. For those who don't know me, my name is Isaac Rodriguez, and I make up a fourth of WSAC's College Bound team. Now, the reason we ask for updated student contact information is because we don't want your students and families to be left out of our communications and outreach efforts. Current college-bound students don't receive college-bound notifications on a regular basis, but our first outreach effort is done when a student is first enrolled into the program and we have their updated contact info. This initial mailing is a college-bound trifold, and it is our way of informing students and families of their college-bound enrollment. Since the majority of students are automatically enrolled, a lot of them aren't aware of how or when this happens, and this is a great way for us to share the news with them. On the trifold, we include a program overview and provide an opportunity for them to opt out should they wish not to remain enrolled. Our outreach efforts do pick up as students transition into post-secondary. We provide additional resources and program updates by email and mail to ensure that we remain a consistent source of information through their high school graduation. This also helps us prevent them from forgetting about us or their college-bound enrollment once they graduate. Along with our regular email and mailed outreach, students with up-to-date phone numbers are also automatically enrolled in OtterBot when they reach high school. And in a couple of slides, I'll share more information on how and why that's a great resource. Next slide, please. So here is a visual of our discontinued college-bound certificate. We receive requests from students and school staff asking to have a certificate resent, and unfortunately, this is no longer an option. Instead, we now have the college-bound trifolds, as I mentioned in the previous slides, that serve the same purpose as the certificates of confirming and congratulating a student on their college-bound enrollment. These trifolds are available in English, Russian, Somali, Spanish, and Vietnamese, and these mailing orders are placed once a month. Students can receive them as soon as they are enrolled in College Bound, and we have up-to-date mailing addresses. Next slide, please. This is a visual of our college-bound student confirmation letter template for middle and high school staff. This resource is available on our website and can be used for when students request a certificate be resent. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, we can't resend those certificates, but we can resend their college-bound trifolds. And this can be done just by contacting college-bound either by phone or email. We do get a lot of Running Start students requesting college-bound enrollment confirmation for funding specific to their school. So oftentimes they'll ask for their certificate. Those college-bound trifolds can serve as confirmation, but they are mailed once a month and they can take up to 8 weeks to arrive. So this letter template could be worth considering if students are working within a tight timeline. But I would note that these are only for students on your college-bound list. So please use our college-bound portal to confirm whether a student is enrolled in college-bound before handing them to students. Next slide, please. Now, on the next few slides, I'm going to be talking about Otterbot, but before I do, I wanted to provide a bit of context for what brought us here and what some of our initial desired outcomes were when launching it. WSAC first launched Otterbot in the fall of 2019 to connect Washington's low-income students and families with critical information in a relevant and accessible way. To further improve our bot, we expanded our research, and in the summer of and fall of 2020, in partnership with Western Washington University, we conducted a study to understand the views, attitudes, and opinions of parents, recent high school graduates, and current high school students on their experiences with accessing financial aid and their college decisions. We learned that many respondents did not think they were eligible for financial aid, despite demographic data indicating they were likely eligible for some form of aid. And a substantial proportion of respondents incorrectly indicated that financial aid programs are directed only to low-income students and those attending four-year colleges. So through all of this, it was clear that there was a consequential information gap in financial aid eligibility awareness. And so on this slide, on the left, you will see the key barriers the high school students and families identified when completing a FAFSA or WASFA. And on the right, you'll see some of our initial objectives with Otterbot. Next slide, please. Okay, and now I introduce Otterbot. Otterbot is an interactive chatbot primarily aimed at Washington high school students enrolled in College Bound, but it's designed to help all Washington high school students and their parents or guardians, and it's available 24/7. Otterbot is intended to help students through the processes of applying for financial aid and post-secondary education or training by providing real-time guidance. Students and their parents receive periodic text messages from Otterbot and can also ask for help at any time. Through targeted messaging, Otterbot provides tips to simplify the financial aid application process, answers students' questions, and sends reminders about key deadlines with virtually no lag time. If Otterbot can't answer or understand a question, it is sent to content matter experts here at WSAC who will provide some sort of response or answer. And this is something we want to draw extra attention to because it is important to share with your students and families to be mindful of what they text into the bot because we do read and review more messages than one might expect. And depending on the content or language, there are processes in place to ensure that some sort of in-person intervention or follow-up takes place. And so we just like to avoid those awkward situations where someone may be asked about a text that they sent jokingly. The next slide, please. So here are some things you might not know about Otterbot. It is not a generative AI chatbot. AI generated responses are not provided on their own. The agency's subject matter experts power its messages. And so Otterbot's knowledge base or brain relies on WASAC's financial aid and college access experts. Our job is to ensure the bot stays up to date with trusted and reliable information sources such as the Federal Student Aid website, WASAC's agency website, and our college and career knowledge digital booklet. So Otterbot may be AI informed, but it will always be human powered. Learners are also given the opportunity to opt out or pause messaging at any time. Messages are paused for 2 weeks, but opting out is permanent until they decide to opt in, which they can do at any time by simply messaging back into the bot. Learners can also use commands to navigate to what they're needing or looking for at any point in the conversation. Commands are special keywords on a variety of topics, and they can use the commands by texting a hashtag followed by a keyword, such as loans, FAFSA, resume, school types. They even have a hashtag follow-up command when a student or a learner would just like to connect with a person. And we do our best with follow-up requests to respond within 48 hours. Next slide, please. So not only does OtterBot serve a population of students who disproportionately identify as students of color, but over a fifth of college-bound students, the central OtterBot audience, come from families that speak a language that is not English at home. Spanish-speaking students and families are one of our key audiences, and we have diligently learned how OtterBot can better support their unique needs and contexts. A couple of ways we have improved communication with key audiences is that the bot sends reminders about its built-in language functionality, and our annual introduction message tells users how to change the default language from English to more than 100 available languages. Next slide, please. The neat thing about Otterbot, there are a lot of neat things about Otterbot, but I've been especially impressed with how much we've been able to expand. So since its inception, Otterbot has expanded its reach by over 1,000%. When it launched in 2019, Otterbot was geared towards seniors only. We were messaging approximately 15,000 college-bound seniors at the time. In the fall of 2021, Otterbot began engaging with juniors and their parents and guardians. And during the 2024-2025 academic year, one-time legislative funding allowed us to engage with sophomores and freshmen and their parents and guardians. So currently, OtterBot serves about 200 to 225,000 students and parents annually. Next slide. With each expansion, we design a full year of text message campaigns that align with the new audience's place in the college and financial aid journey. The goal of each grade level's message is different. So for ninth grade students, the goal is to inform them on the high school environment and the various opportunities available, as well as what it means to be college bound. For 10th grade students, the goal is to educate them on post-secondary pathways and how college bound and state and federal aid programs can help fund them. For 11th grade students, the goal is to prepare them to apply for financial aid in 12th grade, to apply for post-secondary admissions, and to make the transition out of high school into their chosen pathway. And for 12th grade students, the goal is for them to act by completing the FAFSA or WSFA, applying for admissions, and successfully reaching high school graduation. Just to further expand, the 2024-2025 high school freshmen and sophomores campaigns emphasize understanding career options, building an academic profile, and the basics of college bound. Last year's high school seniors found themselves in the middle of a chaotic transition to a new FAFSA form, full of delays, technical glitches, and formula errors, and OtterBot was used to communicate all of those changes and updates in real time. Next slide. So there have been a series of modifications implemented to optimize OtterBot and increase overall engagement. Our introductory campaigns are tailored for college-bound students and their families by grade and self-reported plans after high school. Our messages use engaging opening lines to capture students' attention, which is critical when considering the number of texts students receive. Messages are concise and readable at the standard communication recommendation. WSAC staff engage with school counselors and parents as trusted resources to expand OtterBot's reach and credibility. Since students are well aware of cybersecurity and scam attempts, but they are more likely to use OtterBot if it's introduced to them by a trusted source. So, they're a parent, a high school counselor, a coach. And we've also implemented some regionalized messaging. So we have used our findings from the first phase of our Otters research project to pilot a localized partner-informed version of OtterBot. These findings have motivated WSAC's regionalization efforts, in which we partner with schools, districts, and community-based organizations to adapt the statewide OtterBot. The goal of this project is just to improve post-secondary educational access in pilot regions by delivering regionally relevant messaging to high school juniors and seniors and their parents. Next slide.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for sharing all that information and valuable resources about OtterBot, our texting platform available for Washington High School students and their parents, and its impact. As Isaac mentioned, this texting platform, it was created back in 2019. So after years of just seeing the effectiveness and the expansion of OtterBot, of how you could promote it in your schools, I think that's amazing. That way, students, families have access to 24/7 information on financial aid and college planning. So excellent job. Thank you so much. At this time, we are taking questions. So if you have any questions, college bound, the world of financial aid, we're going to get to resources later on, and we will hear from Rochelle on legislative updates in just a bit. But please do ask your questions in the Q&A feature, and just keep them coming. I have one question, and this is directed to you, Isaac, from Krista. Can counselors or CBOs use OtterBot?
Yeah, they can. I just be mindful that the language is going to be formatted in a way where it thinks either you're a student or a parent. But I would also like to announce that we are working on further expansion of OtterBot to have it available for counselors and CBOs as as a separate audience.
Thank you for that. And right now, I'm going to punt it over to my trusted colleagues. And I want to see if there are any questions in the chat. I know we answered some, but we want to highlight it since we have an audience here. So Rochelle, if you don't mind unmuting yourself and just highlighting maybe one or two questions that you think are most common that should be addressed, that would be great.
Hi, Kathy. Yeah, I was just going to say that we've had quite a few questions about the SNEEB form. So I don't know if that's something, I know that was not in Isaac's section, but it was back in Sean's section. And I don't know if that's something we want to discuss really quick. We were asked how schools that are virtual schools or schools with 100% free lunch, how they can get their students auto-enrolled because they don't have those free and reduced lunch applications.
Great. Is that something you could address, Rochelle? And
sure. So schools that are 100% free lunch or have virtual classes and don't have in person, so they don't have free and reduced lunch, they still have to complete that SNEEB form. So that SNEEB form has actually replaced the free and reduced lunch form. It's a combination of that and the family income survey that we've had in the past, or not we, but that the school districts have had in the past. So that's something that that's the only way to get them auto-enrolled, is that they have to complete that form. As Sean stated, it helps us to know if they're income eligible, because that's really the piece. It's not about being free and reduced lunch eligible. It's about being income eligible. So I hope that answers that question. If folks have more questions about it, feel free to reach out through this webinar or email us at College Bound, and we're happy to answer that. I did see that someone was asking for the SNEEB link. So I don't know if, I know we don't have a direct link for the SNEAM necessarily, but each district has different forms that they require, Kathy. So I don't know if that's something we can put in the chat, or is that something you have readily available?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Yasleen, for putting the slide deck. I just want to let you know that actually Sean went ahead and replied. So there's the Washington School Meals Application Finder. Thank you so much, Sean. It is also, the link is also in our slide deck. So y'all can reference it at any time as well. So this is such an amazing team. We're all just answering these wonderful questions that are coming in. Thank you so much again, Rochelle, for asking those questions and answering that, and to Isaac as well. So at this time, again, keep your questions coming. We are going to move on to the next slide, and I am happy to introduce Rochelle. She'll be covering important college-bound legislative updates and changes. So please stay for this. We were asked a few questions about it in the chat, and looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Rochelle.
Thank you, Kathy. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Rochelle Wise, and I'm the program specialist with the College Bound team. In the next few slides, I'm going to go over some rules for College Bound. Some of them are new, some of them we're just kind of reiterating, and then some resources for College Bound, OtterBot, and our 12th year campaign. So in this first slide, I'm going to go over the timelines to receive College Bound. Some of this has changed a bit, and I will go over those changes again later, but this is just an overview of that. So what is the maximum time that students can receive College Bound funds? Students can receive College Bound for up to 18 quarters or 12 semesters, which equals 6 years. That's 6 years of eligibility and aligns with Pell Grant limits as well, and also our Washington College grant limits. Students must enroll within 1 year of high school graduation, and I'll give an example of that in a minute. They have 6 years from their first term of enrollment in college to use College Bound funds, and a bachelor's degree is the highest degree a student can earn using College Bound funds. So for the example of the 1 year enrollment, that gives students a gap year if they choose to take one. For example, if a student graduated in 2026 or is going to graduate in 2026, they must enroll in college by the fall of 2027. That means they must begin classes before or during the fall 2027 semester or quarter. We did get a question in the Q&A about if they just enroll and plan to start at a future quarter. Unfortunately, no, that doesn't count as enrollment. They actually have to begin classes or begin receiving financial aid. Running Start, college in the high school, and other college credits before high school graduation do not count towards the 1 year enrollment deadline. I know that's a bit confusing. We had some questions on that because it used to be allowed in the past, but it has changed this year. That is retroactive, meaning that if a student graduated in 2023, they had to enroll by 2024, even if they have Running Start credits. So it is starting this year and retroactive. Credits must be earned after high school graduation. So the other example is if for the 6 year enrollment is if a student graduates in 2026 and begins classes in the fall of 2026, their College Bound will remain active until the summer quarter or semester of 2032. If they wait until the fall of 2027 to begin classes, so taking that gap year, their College Bound will remain active until the summer of 2033. Next slide, please, Kathy. Thank you. There have been a few changes within the last 2 years, which also can be a little confusing. Even we have trouble keeping track and sometimes have to refer back. So I hope this slide can help clarify these. In 2024, we had the introduction of SB 5904. Students could then use College Bound for 18 quarters instead of 12, or for 12 semesters instead of 8. So it went from 4 years to 6 years. With the removal of the 5 year window, there was no limit on the number of years college students could use College Bound, but a bachelor's degree was still the highest degree they could earn. Then we also saw the introduction of SB 6053, which many of you have probably heard of. This is the one where we get student information automatically for high school students. Their contact information is imported into our student portal. While it's helpful, it's only once a year. So we still rely on schools to update their list periodically to be sure we have current and up-to-date contact information for our students. This includes cell phone numbers because we want to make sure they're getting those OtterBot messages. We don't receive data for middle school students at all. So we do rely on schools to add that information and update it throughout the year as well. So we recommend checking it maybe monthly. We start receiving new students in November, so you can start reviewing your list then and adding it so that we can get those trifolds out to those students so they know they're enrolled. In 2025, we had the introduction of ESSB 5543. Students can now earn a GED and receive College Bound. That's brand new, and it's a wonderful addition. The GED must be earned in Washington, and it, as Sean stated before, it meets the 2.0 GPA requirement automatically based on completing a GED. We may receive their GED information from OSPI, but we recommend that GED students reach out to us to be sure we have received it. If we haven't, we will need a copy of their GED transcript, which I will then review to be sure they've met the requirements. This was effective in July, so it's students moving forward with GEDs since July. We also had the introduction of SSB 5785. That means that we've limited the use of College Bound again, which is that 6-year window. So that means those who graduated before 2018 were able to use it in the past, but they can't anymore, which is a little troubling. I know we've gotten calls from students who received College Bound last year and now they're not receiving it because they've expired that 6-year window. So just keep that in mind as well. As we said, this aligns with the time frame of the federal Pell Grant and the Washington College Grant. Next slide, please, Kathy. Now I have a table that some of you may have already heard rumors about this or seen a bit about this. This is the changes to the maximum Washington College Grant and College Bound awards coming in the 2026-27 school year and the 2027-28 school year. So it shows the amounts for the public. So just to let you know, the amounts for the public institutions are not changing. That's why you don't see them on this chart. So that includes places like UW, WSU, and any of our community colleges in our state. The middle column is for students who are only receiving Washington College Grant and are not College Bound students. This is barring any legislative changes in the future. So in the middle column, you'll see that private 4-year not-for-profit universities are going down to the 50% of what they're currently receiving. The private 2-year not-for-profits are remaining the same. The private 2-year and 4-year for-profits will no longer be receiving Washington College Grant starting next academic year. That means they will also be removed from our list of participating institutions. So just make sure that you're always using the most current list when talking to students. WGU Washington is being reduced about half, so that 4,150, and apprenticeships are going down 50% as well. Apprenticeships, please note that they're only for the Washington College Grant. College Bound does not currently fund apprenticeships. So in that third column, you're going to see the College Bound Awards. Now, those are for College Bound students. So that is a combination of their Washington College Grant and College Bound Award together will meet this commitment. The private 4-year not-for-profits are going down to 50% in 27-28. So these don't take effect until the following academic year. The private 2-year not-for-profits will be the average community and technical college awards. The private 2- and 4-year for-profits, again, are going away, so they will be removed from our institution list. WG Washington is going down, like I said, it's a little over half to 4,650. And again, like I mentioned, apprenticeships are not covered by College Bound. Next slide, please, Kathy. So in September, Governor Ferguson signed an executive order establishing the Washington Completes FAFSA campaign. This order creates an advisory board to lead the effort by setting statewide FAFSA completion goals, tracking progress, and ensuring a clear annual target beginning with the next academic year, 26-27. We're so excited that we get to lead this advisory group so that no student or family is left out of getting the financial support they need to meet their goals. Sarah Weiss, the director of College Access Initiatives, presented at one of our Washington high schools, and the students were so excited about the campaign. She said the energy was overwhelming, which is amazing. We're so excited. So the key points are that Governor Inslee issued the Executive Order 25-08 to boost FAFSA completion rates statewide. While it mentions only FAFSA, it includes the WSFA as well. It just wasn't mentioned due to privacy requirements regarding the WSFA. You can still promote both and ask your students to complete the FAFSA or WSFA. Everyone has an opportunity for financial aid in our state. WSAC is leading the campaign with schools, districts, and partners. So we're here for you. We're here to support you. A new FAFSA advisory board will guide statewide efforts and set annual goals. You'll see more about that later in our materials and on our website. WSAC will launch a public FAFSA dashboard with weekly school and district updates so you can see the results of your efforts. Celebrate them when you get a chance. Expect more resources, trainings, and communication tools to support FAFSA completion. Keep your eyes and ears open for that as well. Counselors, you play a key role in guiding students and families through financial aid. We couldn't do it without you, so we're really looking forward to working with you. Schools will lower completion rates. With lower completion rates, may receive targeted support from WSAC. We're here for you, and we will reach out to you if that's the case. Please encourage your students to use OtterBot for FAFSA reminders and help. They can also ask WSFA questions, and they can ask those questions 24/7. We're always here. And as Isaac stated, if the bot can't answer, there's a human behind it, so that we will get the question and we'll be able to answer. This is a statewide push to ensure every student has access to financial aid. We're happy to partner with OSPI on this work based on the proclamation of the governor, and OSPI provided a quick glimpse in the WSAC OSPI webinar on financial aid last week of what it will look like in school links to support this work and work alongside WSAC for student form completion. Okay, Kathy, I think we're going to pause here for questions maybe.
You are correct. As soon as I get this to work. Perfect. Yes. So again, thank you so much, Rochelle, for those updates. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the Q&A feature. We will do our best to get to them today. Right now, we can get to a few questions before we get to our next presenter. So, Rochelle, I have one question in the chat from Krista. What is the main benefit of College Bound over Washington College Grant? Is the book amount $500? Is that something you can answer?
Yeah, that's a great question, Krista, and we get that one often. The benefit, first of all, is there is a little bit of, I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to think of. There is one spot, I use that word, where students may be eligible for WA grant, but not the full amount, but still eligible for College Bound. So they might get a little bit extra from College Bound to pick up the rest of that tuition. So there is a line on there that they may fall into that. Yes, the book amount is $500. So most of our students are getting the full Washington College Grant to cover tuition and that $500 book allowance on top of it. So we do get calls from students quite often asking, why did I only get $500? Or why did I only get $250 if it's semesterly? Or why did I only get $167 if it's a quarter? And so that would be why. So the main thing to point out to students is that it's a commitment, as Kathy stated before, it's a commitment of tuition coverage. And that is a commitment of state aid covering their tuition. So just have them check, is your tuition covered? If it is, then good, you've gotten what you need. The other benefit of being College Bound is you're going to get all these resources from us. You're going to get the OtterBot messages. You're going to get all of the materials and information about College Bound and Washington College Grant and College Going. So that's another benefit of it. I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rochelle. And thank you, Krista, for asking that. Are there any other questions? Okay, I'll give it, we still have time at the end to get to questions. I'm going to go ahead and punt it back to Rochelle.
Thank you, Kathy. So in the next few slides, I'm going to share some valuable resources for College Bound, OtterBot, and 12th Year Campaign. Next slide, please, Kathy. Thank you. So we have many resources, as you can see on this slide. They're printable and they're on our website, available for you to print out for your students at collegebound.wa.gov. Some of them are in 13 languages. So the middle school intro flyer, the high school intro flyer, the how to access college bound funds, and the college bound myths and facts are available in those languages. The middle school intro flyer shares an overview of College Bound. The high school intro flyer shares the requirements to receive College Bound. We also have a PowerPoint coming soon that you can use for your presentations with students and families. There are answers to FAQs for counselors and another for students and families. Those are super helpful. It's the questions we get the most and their answers. We have the how to access College Bound flyer that breaks down the requirements and use of College Bound in a very easy to read format. And the last document on the slide is the College Bound Myths and Facts document. We created this based on the misconceptions we hear the most so that we can clarify and be sure everyone has accurate information. We want you and your students to be excited about College Bound and all that it has to offer. Next slide, please, Kathy. Thank you. So we encourage you to use this template. It's a template for you to put on your website with helpful information about College Bound, OtterBot, and the College and Career Knowledge booklet. It can be customized with your staff's contact information. And the reason we encourage this is because we do change our information, sometimes yearly, sometimes a little bit more often. So this has all the links so that you're not having to change the information throughout the year, and you can be sure that it's accurate. Thank you, Kathy. Next slide, please. So our website also contains helpful videos in both English and Spanish. They're short animated videos that break down the College Bound program in easy to understand terms. We also have a student learning outcomes and discussion questions document in both English and Spanish to help you when presenting to students and families. So you can use that along with your PowerPoint slide that we'll have on the website soon. Next slide, please, Kathy. Thank you. College Bound is part of the College Access and Initiatives team, along with OtterBot and the 12th Year Campaign. Our team has other valuable resources that you can order and have delivered directly to your school. You can use the QR code on the screen to get to that order form. Materials for OtterBot, College Bound, and the 12th Year Campaign can all be ordered at the same time. So we've condensed everything into one easy-to-use form. There are example photos on the order form so you can see what each item looks like. Orders are processed weekly and take 2 to 4 weeks to arrive at your school, so make sure you order them with plenty of time if you're having an event. Please only use physical addresses because we cannot deliver to PO boxes. Also, please be sure to coordinate with other staff in your school district when placing orders so that there aren't duplicates or orders of more than what you need. Please reach out to us at any time with any questions you have about our materials. Next slide, please, Kathy. The College and Career Knowledge booklet has a ton of information to help students on their post-secondary journey. It's colorful, easy to read, and has some really fun graphics that we created. You can print copies or use the digital copy. It is available in several languages, and there's also convenient lesson plans to go with it to help you guide you and your students through the booklet. I think that's the last of my slides. So next I'm going to pass it along to one of our College Success Foundation partners, Amber, who will introduce you to her team and the resources that they provide.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Amber Goodrich, and I'm excited to be here today representing College Success Foundation. I'm here to talk about how we can help support you with your college bound needs. Next slide, please. So you might remember us as the CBROs or the College Bound Regional Officers. Due to funding shifts, we've had a rebrand, and now we are the Regional College Access Managers or RCAMs. Our mission is the same, and our primary duties are largely unchanged. We've divided Washington into 5 regions with one RCAM supporting each region. Raul is based out of Spokane and supports North Central and Northeast Spokane. Melissa is based in the Seattle area and supports King County. I'm based in Yakima and support South Central and Southeast Washington. Joshua Griggs is the newest member of our team. He is Tacoma based and serves South Puget Sound and Southwest Washington. We also have Bree, who supports Northwest Washington and the Peninsula. Next slide, please. With that being said, we would love to partner with you. So what would a partnership look like? We offer trainings for practitioners on financial aid and college bound. We also support student and family events by providing information on college pathways, applying for financial aid, how to access college bound, and we've also developed materials that can help assist you and your students. Next slide, please. In collaboration with this lovely WSAC CAI team, we developed a set of materials called Create Your Future with College Bound. These include topics such as College Bound 101 and goal setting. They are worksheets that help students fill out, and they also come with educator notes that will help you guide the activity. We've also provided a glossary for students to help them understand key terms. And a fun little tidbit is that a lot of these activities coincide with the high school and beyond plan requirements. So you are essentially completing 2 different requirements for your students by helping them continue on in those goals while also learning about college bound. So it's a lot of fun. And next slide, please. So in order to access the Create Your Future worksheets, you can visit our webpage. We have a shortened URL that is collegesuccessfoundation.org/rcams. And then under financial aid completion event marketing, we have plug and play kits to help you market your financial aid events. Next slide, please. In order to collaborate with us, please reach out to us via email. We also will send monthly newsletters full of any important updates surrounding college bound or financial aid in general to keep you updated. We try not to do this more than monthly or quarterly because we don't want to spam you guys. So please connect with us. That way we can help support your events, help answer any questions. And I do want to note that sadly, Bree's last day with us is going to be this Friday. So if you are in the Northwest or Peninsula region, please email rcams@collegesuccessfoundation.org after this Friday for assistance, and we will definitely do what we can to support you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We look forward to hearing from you, and I'll turn it back over to Kathy. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amber, and to the RCAMs for their incredible work, what they're doing across the state. It's so important. Again, what Amber said, please connect with them for one-on-one support, for training. They're just a great presence. I'm just so happy. Are y'all excited? Every time we talk about resources, starting with Rochelle and Amber, I get super duper excited, and this is where it's gonna be rapid fire, boom, 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 with all of these amazing resources. Starting with, on my slide, the Gear Up family newsletter. It is an amazing resource because it gives middle and high school counselors and staff ready-made grade level content all the way from 7th to 12th grade to share with families in multiple languages. This saves you time and enhances engagement with your students and their parents. The cool thing about this is it's organized by season, so you know when to provide this to your students and their families. It also helps counselors keep families informed about scholarships, post-high school planning, and supports. Just a great resource overall. Again, please follow the slide deck. All of the links to this is in the PowerPoint presentation, so you have access. Now, for those who are working with high school students, the 12th year campaign provides free training materials and other resources like videos, templates, Again, this is to support your work with high school students and their families through the admissions and financial aid application process. So many materials are available in multiple languages, and I'm super excited to basically introduce you to the wonderful 12th year campaign team. They are here behind the scenes helping you with the Q&A, helping you with the chat and working on logistics. So shout out to Yasleen Torres Pena and Christina Winstead, who are leading this work in the 12th year campaign. They are amazing. Yasleen is located on the east side of the state and Christina is on the west side. However, together they support students, schools, and communities around the state. How amazing is that? A team of two. Next, of course, you feel the frenzy of the financial aid, the good type. Financial aid applications are available for the 2026-2027 school year. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for helping spreading the word and helping your students with this process. So please do continue to share our resources with them. I did note and saw a few questions in the chat regarding financial aid nights or resources. We will get to that shortly, and we have great things in store for you. I wanted to highlight something really amazing. It's our 12th year campaign. They have developed a statewide event calendar. This is to support financial aid completion in Washington State. This is relatively new, and this is a student and family facing calendar. So it's one place where we list financial aid events across the state. And we welcome you to register your school or organization's financial aid events, college events. Use this form below in the link with the details of your events, and we will publish it on our statewide calendar. So again, what a wonderful resource for you to take a look at. Somebody had asked about this, right? So speaking about student and family financial aid events, we have virtual nights for seniors and juniors. And this is where we invite all students across the state to learn about how to pay for their education after high school. The two events that are coming up is one for the class of 2026. That please do register by clicking on that financial aid event link down below. There's one on November 19th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Again, this is virtual. And there's another one for just parents and guardians on November 18th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Just amazing resources. One thing that is really cool that was recently created, thank you so much to Christina and Yasleen. So whether you are new to the financial aid world or need a refresher, these trainings are for you. So we will continue to lead virtual and in-person trainings this fall that will go more in depth on the financial aid changes, the process, challenges, errors. Trainings are available in English and Spanish, training to support special populations. So again, this has a one-stop shop for, you will see on the slide, College Bound Updates webinar and other webinars and trainings that are coming up from the College Access Initiatives team. So I invite you to scan this QR code right now or click on that registration link, because tomorrow you don't want to miss out on this. You are all invited to our online financial aid navigation. Again, it's tomorrow from 10 to 12 p.m. It's online and we still have some spots left. Please do register for that. This is such an informative and insightful session, and we'd love for you to drop on by to learn more about the financial aid process and how to help others navigate by applying for financial aid. This includes assisting students and training others as well. I will keep that on there for just a few more seconds, but don't worry, you have a slide deck that you can always go back on. Now, this is really exciting. Sean is putting on our first College Access Initiative FAFSA portal webinar training. So please scan the QR code, or if you have the slide deck up, please click on this link, because this is going to be such a wonderful webinar about FAFSA portal and financial aid resources. It's on Thursday, October 23rd, online, 1 to 2:30 p.m. If you are an existing FAFSA portal user, or you are interested in getting a FAFSA portal account to better support your students with their financial aid completion, and application, this training is for you. So please stop on by, and we would love to see you. Another great resource is stopping by virtually at our WSAC Wednesday. It's held the first Wednesday of every month from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And this is essentially a drop-in. It's open office hours with WSAC staff about financial aid, College Bound, Washington College Grant, Autobot, our texting platform. So we hope to see you there. And Sean had mentioned for the FAFSA portal training, it will also cover the FAFSA dashboard and how to use the dashboard for program management and data checks. Thank you so much for adding that piece, Sean. Appreciate it. So I'm zooming right on by, and we're almost towards the end of our presentation, but here are more resources for you. So this is the College Access Resource Padlet. This visual shows what the Padlet looks like. These resources will assist you as you plan your financial aid advising day at your school and support students with their financial aid and admissions applications. It, again, is a one-stop shop with just information. So please feel free to use this as a resource for yourself. And we have an accompanying student Padlet that you can share with your students and families. It gives them, again, tips and information about completing financial aid in the admissions process overall. So I just wanted to remind you, we're almost towards the end of our presentation. We have about a few more minutes left, but if you are in need of clock hours, just a reminder, here's the clock hours link, and it's done through ESD 113. And we will have time for questions at the end, but this is our end activity, borrowed kindly from our friends at OSPI. So I know we covered a lot of information, and what we're going to do is, it's called the waterfall activity to close today's webinar. It would be great to have you take just a few moments to think of something you will bring back to your school or organization to use this fall, or even sometime this year, and type it in the chat, but don't hit enter yet. We're all going to do it together as one group. So I'm going to give you a few moments to think about what is something you will bring back to your school or organization to use this fall. And we would love to hear from you. So I'll give you all about 10, 15 seconds to type that in the chat. And drum roll. Please go ahead and enter. Yes, that's perfect. Oh, I love seeing this. This is the best part. Okay, WSAC financial aid resources, Gear Up website. Yes, Otterbot. Thank you. We really want to push that. Okay, bot and Padlets. I'm seeing Gear Up templates again. Woohoo! Otterbot is coming to my school. That's awesome. Perfect. I see lots of Padlets, bots. This is great. You don't have to recreate the wheel. We are here to support you with our amazing partners, the RCAMs, everyone on this call. This is awesome. This is really awesome. So we are coming to the end of our meeting, but I would love to get your thoughts, comments on just a brief survey. So if you have your phone available, or if you want to click on that link, if you could just please take a few moments, should be under a minute, to leave your thoughts. Every year, our amazing teams, we're trying to make this webinar best suited to serve you, what your needs are. so that we can help you better support your students. So there is also an opportunity to request specific follow-up from either CSF or WSAC on anything you have questions about. So this is another great way to connect with us. So please do take that time. And last but not least, contact us with any questions you have. Another great resource for you, if you haven't signed up already, is to be part of our College Access Initiatives newsletter. So if you have new staff at your organization or school, please make sure that they're signed up to get the latest and greatest on this information. And finally, just want to say thank you to our amazing College Success Foundation, RCAMs, for being here, being supportive of. Many of them are on this call, to our amazing College Access Initiatives team, to you all for joining us today and sticking through this whole presentation from beginning to end. We are here to support you. Just wanted to remind you about that. And again, just appreciate everyone's time. We hope you have a great day. We will